Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Tin Man's Core Channel. I'm your host, Jeff of Tin Man Taylor. Today, I'm going to be reacting to 3 scary storyteller channels. And the first one is Mr. Nightmare. The video that I'll be reacting to is called 10 Strangest and Creepiest Things Found in Storage Devices / Lockers. So, this is going to get very scary in an instant, probably. So, without further ado, I'm going to turn these lights off, move the camera up here for you guys, and let's get this reaction on the road and in the bag, shall we? Okay, here we go.
You can feel comfort in storing your private belongings inside lockers and other storage devices.
Right.
However, sometimes the private belongings found inside these storage devices are rather strange and disturbing.
Number 10.
The only time it's acceptable to keep around a headless doll is the 5 minutes between the dog ripping the head off and you discovering it. When someone stores a headless doll among knives, it's most likely a problem. Robert Dewey Hoskins, who was rearrested after escaping from a mental hospital in February of 2012, was convicted of threatening to murder Madonna, and that headless baby doll was found in his storage unit in Long Beach. LA Weekly reports on the 10 creepiest items found in the Madonna Stalker storage unit. Besides the headless baby doll and dozens of knives, Hoskins kept a very scary clown mask, a sumo wrestler baby doll, a Barbie backpack, and so much more.
Okay, that's a little weird. If a dude has a Barbie backpack along with knives, baby dolls with their heads missing, a clown mask, then obviously something's going on with his head. I cannot believe somebody will want to go after Madonna. Either he hated her music or what she said in tabloids, or he's so messed up in the head he didn't know what he was thinking. But that is disturbing to find in a storage locker. I'm just glad that the police arrested that creep. Well, let's get the storage locker case number 9.
Number 9.
A married couple with 2 kids made a horrific discovery when the mother, Mrs. Copeland, found a safe in her 10-year-old son's room. When questioned about where he got it and its contents, he simply pleaded the fifth. Both parents were unable to get any info out of their son. Eventually, Mr. Copeland was able to pry the safe open and was shocked at what he found inside. The head of their dog that had recently passed and was buried in their yard was stuffed into the safe.
Oh, heck no. If I had a kid that said that they'd plead the fifth, I'd be like, boy, you better tell me where this safe came from. Did you buy it or did someone give it to you? But then if you open it up and see the head of your dog that died in it, I'd be wondering, is the son here crazy and chopped the head off of that dog? I don't know, but this is creepy and messed up to have in a little boy's room.
Blood poured out of the box as Mr. Copeland screamed in horror. Their son said he loved that dog so much that he wanted to have a part of her forever, so he dug up the body, cut off its head with a tiny kitchen knife, and stuffed it in the safe that was found by the mother later on that same day.
I know you missed the dog, but golly, you don't have to chop off the entire head. I mean, that's just messed up. But at this point, I'll be arranging a psychiatrist to go talk to that boy. That's a little creepy and disturbing because no normal person would do that. They would keep dog toys or the name tag collar, not any body parts. That just gave me chills down my spine, just hearing that.
Number 8.
Some people like to take their work home with them, but Dr. Michael Birkland, a former medical examiner, took his work to his storage unit in Pensacola. And when I say work, I'm talking about body parts for more than 100 people. All this creepiness was discovered in August 2012 when some poor soul bought the contents of Dr. Birkland's unit at a storage auction. It seems that Dr. Birkland's hobby included the storing of 10 brains as well as other body parts like lungs, hearts, and tissue samples.
Oh, heck no. That's just messed up to have in a storage locker. Call the police. Which I know he probably did. I cannot believe somebody would take people's brains and lungs and other body parts and just store them in a storage unit. I hope it had good AC in it before them things got spoiled.
Dr. Birkland was thrifty as well as creepy, keeping a heart stored in a styrofoam cup. Police noted that formaldehyde was leaking from the cracked lid. The body parts, which were harvested during private autopsies performed inside funeral homes in Florida, were also found inside Tupperware containers, trash bags, and specimen cups. Interestingly, Dr. Birkeland was fired from his job as a medical examiner in 2003 for failing to complete autopsy reports in a timely manner and for keeping a big backlog of cases.
It's probably because of these people's organs right here. He would just take them and not even mention it in the reports. I'm glad he got fired, but I'm glad that someone was able to alert the authorities when they bought his storage locker and had him arrested. If he didn't want to be caught with all that stuff, I'm surprised that doctor did not open the storage unit up and removed all the contents in it.
Number 7.
Unit B8 in U-Store Self-Storage in Clearwater, Florida, held something that couldn't be auctioned off when the family fell behind on payments in January of 2012. When the storage facility manager told the family that the contents were going to be sold, the truth came out. Among the banana boxes and old TVs rested the grandma's skeletal remains. Authorities identified the grandma as Anne Bunch, born on January 1st, 1900. Since the woman's death in 1995, her remains had been stored inside a painted blue coffin in a storage unit that wasn't air-conditioned.
Okay, why would you put your grandma's remains in a storage unit? I mean, that's just sickening. You should have buried her properly. Or they're just a twisted family that like to keep their loved ones above ground so they could look at them all the time. Ugh. Well, that is very disturbing to find. They should have been up on their payments if they didn't want the authorities to look at the stuff or get threatened that all the stuff was going to get auctioned off.
For 17 years, her remains rested inside a warm storage unit. The body had been properly prepared for burial by a funeral home in Alabama, which explains the lack of odor.
Okay, it was prepared by a funeral home, but I don't get why they didn't bury her. Unless they didn't have the money to get the grave diggers to dig up a hole. Or like I said earlier, they wanted to see her in the storage unit from time to time. I don't know, but that's just creepy. That's something that will give you nightmares for life. A corpse inside of a storage unit. Ugh. But thank God that they had a funeral home prepare her, because they would have been smelling rotten flesh by the time they opened up the door.
Number 6.
A lot of people refuse to go to public pools, and maybe this will be one more reason. An elderly man named Jacob Pastor, who swam in a public pool in Colorado, used the same locker in the changing room every time he visited. A lot of the lockers went unused, as most people didn't even need to use them, and it wasn't a very crowded pool to begin with. One unfortunate day, however, perhaps he had tired himself out a little too much and opened the wrong locker, the one right next to his usual one. The skeletal remains of a human fell out from the locker, almost as if it were tackling him to the ground. By the looks of it, the body that once was had been in there for years, as it was fully decomposed. It looked as though somebody had been forcefully jammed in there, or perhaps they simply got stuck in there themselves. That mystery will remain unsolved.
How would somebody be stuck in there by themselves? Unless they're a very small person. But no, someone deleted that individual, stuffed them in the locker, and just let it sit there and decompose. But I'm surprised nobody didn't smell nothing fishy to investigate. But I know that had to be a big media circus for when that dude opened up the locker and saw all the remains fall out. But that's something that'll make you scared of opening lockers up ever again.
Number 5.
Imager user Oldswagen is a reformed thief who earns money on the side by unlocking safes for people.
Right?
But little did he know that this job could lead to him helping solve a vile crime. A landlord contacted the lockmaster to help him bust into a safe that one of his tenants had left behind. But neither of them were prepared for what was lurking inside. Once Oldswagen had disabled the lock by hot wiring it, the safe swung open and revealed that things would have gone very differently if he had used an acetylene torch to bust through the door, because inside, as pictured, they found a live grenade. Unfortunately, the live grenade was one of the more innocent items concealed within the safe's near-impenetrable metal walls. The SD cards pictured were all filled with child pornography, and the journal was so depraved that Oldswagen wrote, "I thumbed through it, and I won't tell you what was in it so that you could actually sleep tonight." The authorities were informed of the upsetting material, and all the items pictured were confiscated to help find the perpetrator, who is believed to have been running a child pornography ring.
Oh, that is just disgusting. That someone would be doing that. that person should have destroyed all evidence if they didn't want to be caught, but I'm glad they didn't, because now the cops can get a lead on whoever this was. But yeah, that dude that was cracking the safe was lucky that he didn't use a torch, because if he hit that grenade, boom, not only the evidence would have been destroyed and the safe, but the landlord and him would have been pushed back hard against the wall and probably been deleted right there on the spot like that.
Number 4.
In Fort Collins, Colorado, 1987, a school locker was searched after the murder of a local girl named Peggy Hetrick, and the police never forgot what they found. Timothy Lee Masters' locker was crammed full of over 2,200 pages of violent writings and horrific drawings of mutilated bodies, with some of them resembling the scene where Hetrick was murdered. The 15-year-old pupil was found guilty at trial and sentenced to life imprisonment, but he was eventually acquitted in 2008 when advances in forensic science cleared him of acting out his sick fantasies in real life. Peggy Hetrick's killer has never been caught.
This is why kids today need professional help if they were found with drawings of mutilating people. Because then, police would think, oh, they're the ones that deleted this woman. In reality, they didn't. I'm glad he got released since technology was able to clear him, but still, you shouldn't have that stuff in your locker. But I hope the police can figure out who the real perpetrator was and get him arrested.
Number 3.
When Mr. Shannon Wisnett bought a barbecue smoker from an auction storage unit, it contained a human leg.
Oh, heck no.
The severed limb was wrapped in tinfoil, but when police traced its owner, the leg's origins turned out to be distinctly less murderous than they were expecting. The former owner of the storage unit, Mr. John Wood, was involved in a plane crash in 2004. That meant his leg had to be amputated below the knee. He opted to keep the limb so he could be buried with it, but somehow forgot that he had put it in storage.
Oh, God, man, that is creepy. I don't know why people would do that. Something like that you should have in a freezer, because imagine the heat rising in that unit without any AC. Then that leg would not have been worth keeping. But really, that is disturbing, just to hear somebody finding the leg. Well, thank God it wasn't no real murder case, because the owner of that storage unit would have been in trouble. Legal trouble.
Number 2.
When she was refurbishing a derelict home, Ann Contola discovered a wall safe hidden behind the plasterwork. Convinced it might hold something of value, she called the locksmith to crack it open. But instead of riches, she was greeted with a handful of human teeth.
Number 1.
Yuck. That tells you right there somebody might have been pulling out people's teeth and kept them in that safe. Or I heard there's some people that collect old teeth, but from like animals. But still, that is very disturbing to hear of something you find in a safe. That's totally unexpected.
Reddit user by the name of Lumberjack found a bizarre hidden crawl space in his house, but it was the locked safe within that contained the most spine-chilling material. The tiny place designed to fit a water heater was carpeted and led to a mysterious black door that was locked. In order to be able to sleep in the house ever again, Lumberjack broke through the door and was greeted by a black sentry safe that was looming in the corner. When the safe was opened, it contained numerous VHS tapes that didn't seem to contain innocent home movies. "No, no, no, no" could be found written on one of the tapes. As if that weren't bad enough, there was also a chilling note in ominous dripping black ink, saying, "Save yourself." 8 months ago, Lumberjack told the Reddit community that he had turned in the tapes to the police.
Well, I'm glad he did, because if you watched them, you'd be horrified for life for whatever was on there. So it's good you gave it to the police and let them investigate and see what's on them and how in the world them tapes ended up in that crawl space of yours. Well, I can say the most disturbing things in this video that really made me creeped out was the leg in the barbecue grill in the storage unit, the grandmother's remains, the human body parts and organs, and the kid severing the dog's head and put it in a safe. All that is weird and creepy. But all the other ones were strange and disturbing as well. Just imagine you go into a storage locker auction and then you come across something strange, weird, that might need police attention. That'll give everybody nightmares or bad memories for their life. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, turn on those post notifications for more Mr. Nightmare content like this. This has been another successful installment of the Tin Man Score channel. I'm your host, Jeffrey Tin Man Taylor. I said that's a wrap, and have a nice day, y'all.